Today I'd like to talk about a niche build. It's a powerhouse, but it is a bit specific. It's a hunter build that is revolving around running the Speedloader Slack exotic boots and utilizing the OPEC Hourglass crossbow from the Desert Perpetual raid, or combat bow if you want to be technical about it. As you guys know, tons and tons of bosses in this game are either very large or they're stationary. Take the Desert Perpetual raid, for example. Literally all the bosses in that raid fit that description. So this build is catered specifically to those kind of situations. Another helpful factor to this build is prolonged damage phases, where something like Corrupted Puppeteer takes, a minute and a half, or the Koragos fight, where the damage phase is very long when you extend it. The way this DPS setup is, set up is you can go for as long as you want for the duration of an entire damage phase until you run out of literally all of your special and all of your kinetic slot ammo. And that's because you technically have unlimited heavy ammo, as with combat bows, you can just pick up your ammo right back after shooting X amount of bullets, or bows in this case. And the thing is, you are never going to run out of all of your primary and energy slot ammo before a damage phase is over. So essentially, you have unlimited damage potential until a phase ends. Let's break down how this works. The star of the show on the weapon side is going to be the combat bow from Desert Perpetual. Now, prior to the nerfs recently, you wanted Vorpal on it as it was bugged and doing more damage than intended, but Bungie has since fixed that. So now currently, as you're watching this, you're going to want either Firing Line or Elemental Honing in the 4th column. In the 3rd column, you want Field Prep or Impulse Amplifier, and in column 2, originally you wanted Explosive Bolts, but since the nerf to Temporal Blast, you can actually have more flexibility in picking which bolt you want in this slot. Speaking of which, Temporal Blast was nerfed, so that's worth mentioning. However, despite its nerf, this build still works and pumps out great damage while also being a support build for your teammates, creating several ultra power through your Golden Gun. On the armor side, the star is going to be our exotic boots, Speedloader Slacks, with the perk Tight Fit. Specifically, we want to monitor the last sentence, which says, dealing sustained damage grants class ability energy. This is where our energy weapon comes in, and that is 4th Horseman. This does so much damage in such a small amount of time that this on its own can provide you your entire dodge back within a second. The main concept here, at least initially to start, is going to be your 4th Horseman and your Hourglass are going to be playing a game of hot potato, going back and forth between each other, doing damage. You're going to start off with your combat bow, shoot the shot, then use your dodge ability, which is going to be Marksman's Dodge, to get another bullet back, shoot it again, then you swap the 4th Horseman and load off your entire magazine, activating Speedloader Slacks, which gives you your dodge entirely back. Then you go back to your bow, rinse, repeat with the dodge. This on its own is already pretty good, but you're probably thinking, well, Sneak, you're going to run out of 4th Horseman ammo pretty quickly. What do you do then? That's where our kinetic slot weapon comes into play, and I'm running the Festival Flight GL. I'm utilizing this for tick damage to activate my Speedloader Slacks to keep giving me my dodge back, and I have a ton of ammo in Festival to unload. Meanwhile, every couple of shots that I take with my Hourglass, I can retrieve that ammo from the enemy, or the boss in this case, and keep going in a chain. And as long as I have ammo in my Festival Flight, which again is a ton, I will never run out of ammo for my damage phase. So I will last the entire damage phase continually shooting my heavy without ever running out. I'll get into the full loop in a second, but let's talk about the actual build. The starter for the build is going to be our super, which is going to be 3-shot Golden Gun. This has basically become the #1 hunter super currently used in the game with the whole super gen meta. You have Silk Strike occasionally in a couple of different scenarios in boss fights, but for the most part, 3-shot Goldie is the way to go. In my abilities, I have Marksman's Dodge to reload armed weapons, in this case the bow most of the time. Then in our jump, you can use whatever you want. In my melee, I have Snare Bomb for a weakening effect in the event that I'm not on a fire team that has a free debuff like a Tractor Cannon, for example. And then lastly, we have Dustfield Grenade. This specifically is going to be for Facet of Courage. For your aspects, you're actually open to run whatever you want, though I will say the one recommendation I would give is going to be Ascension. Ascension is just too ridiculous to not run in the current meta. It provides so many things in the game, it's kind of crazy. It gives you free DR, it makes you amplified so you go faster and you're harder to hit. It also gives a free jolt for damage on an enemy if you're near them, and if you activate it with Marksman's Dodge as your dodge equipped, it still activates to reload all of your weapons if you want to do that while in the air. Next up are the fragments. Keep in mind that for this build, we're going full-on DPS, specifically in the weapon scenario, so our super, while good for damage, is not the primary concern, and it's mainly our weapons doing the damage. Because of that, I have the following fragments. Number 1, we have Facet of Justice. This is specifically here just to give me plus 10 on my super stat and nothing else. After that, we have Facet of Protection to give us damage resist when we're surrounded by combatants, and after that, we have Facet of Ruin. Now, normally this is for shattering and igniting enemies, giving more shatter damage and a bigger radius for ignitions, but this is here in similar fashion to Justice to give us a bonus stat, in this case, plus 10 on weapons for extra weapon damage. And lastly is Facet of Courage to give us more ability damage when we have a darkness debuff on an enemy. In our case, that would be a dust field. Though you could also accomplish this with your prismatic grenade, which would then freeze and shatter and also ignite an enemy. Speaking about the stats, let's check them out. So, the main two stats you want to have pumped are going to be your super stat. While Goldie is not the greatest damage super in the game with 3-shot Goldie, it's still some damage, so you should try to have your stat as high as possible. So I have mine currently with 133 plus font mods, and I have my weapon stat cranked to 190. So I'm getting as much bang for my buck as I can. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. You want to have your class ability stat up pretty significantly. You don't want to have it at like 30 or whatever, because you will not get your dodge fully back, and that's going to ruin your entire build. I would suggest having it at least at 60 points, but I decided to have 80 on mine, although not everybody will just have tier 5 armor out the wazoo to try to get this done, so try for at least 60. I know some people are curious on armor types, so let's quickly go through it. This is an artifice piece, or illegal armor, as we've dubbed it. In my gloves, I have a specialist piece. In my chest, again, it's illegal artifice armor. Then in boots, of course, we have speed loader slacks. And then in my class item, it is a specialist piece once again. Now let's talk about the loop. So I'm going to describe how I do it, but you could personally tweak some things if you'd like. For example, you might not want to use your smoke or your dust field because you already have those things covered with a proper debuff like a tractor, and then someone else is covering the darkness debuff. But if you want to, you can go ahead. I personally start off with Goldie and my prismatic. Well, actually, I start off with prismatic and popping Goldie to save time on animation. Then I go in with my Goldie super, get my 3 shots off, so my super is gone, and then we start the weapon portion of the damage. It is worth noting that if the damage phase is long, which is what this build is for, you will get prismatic and your super back in your rotation to use a second time, so I wouldn't hold them at the start. Our first weapon action is going to be shooting the bow. After that, we immediately dodge to get a second shot of a bow out on the boss, and then quickly swap to 4th Horseman. We unload our entire mag with 4th Horseman, which will give us our dodge back fully. Then we go back to our bow, dodge again, shoot another shot, and then keep rinse and repeating with that and 4th Horseman until the Horseman ammo is gone. At this point, you will then start using your kinetic, which is going to be our Festival Flight GL. Drop a GL shot on the boss, and the ticks of damage are going to replenish your dodge very, very quickly. In the meantime, you swap back to your bow, and then manually reload a shot. That way, you can shoot the shot off, and then your dodge will come back for you to get a second shot off very quickly, and then you go back to GL, rinse and repeat that action as well. The only difference in this chain is going to be monitoring when you have your Priz and your super back. When you get them back, you should just pop them immediately to get that 5% bonus damage from Priz, and then obviously your super is going to do some chunks of damage, plus give your teammates another 6 orbs. The other thing to keep in mind here is that at some point you're going to want to retrieve your bow shots out of the boss, because you can keep unlimited heavy ammo in this process, and you're going to have a lot of GL shots to go through, so you might as well keep your ammo up for an unlimited chain until the damage phase is over, or the boss is already dead. Here are the mods you're going to be working with. They're pretty straightforward, but I'll go over them regardless, and I'll have a link for this dim build down in the description below, in case you want to try it. So helmet, I have 3 super font mods, like I mentioned earlier, so my 133 super stat plus 50 is going to be 183. Pretty solid overall. In gloves, doesn't really matter, but I have 1 font of melee and 1 font of grenade, and then 1 focusing strike. In my chest is just resist, plus ammo generation for the bow, just in case. In my boots, it's triple arc weapon surge, as we're abusing 4th Horseman and Hourglass, both of which are arc. And then in my class item, 1 class font, which will give me 20 points of class ability, and then 1 copy of Powerful Attraction to scoop up orbs around me, if there are, like, let's say, I don't know, a well. And then 1 copy of Time Dilation just to keep my armor charge timer up. Now for artifact mods, there's only 2 that you need to keep in mind for this particular setup. Number 1 is going to be Semi-Auto Striker. This says if you have fewer than 2 stacks of armor charge, rapid precision hits from bows, snipers, or scout rifles generate an armor charge. We're using a bow. And then the other one is going to be Argent Quiver. Reloading a bow consumes 1 stack of armor charge, granting increased damage and reload speed for your next 3 shots, or until you stow the boat. So if you do it right and consistently enough and quick enough, you would just generate armor charges for yourself on your own without worrying about other people giving you orbs. But if you have other people also giving you orbs, obviously that'll make it more consistent. That's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything, but if you have a question, feel free to ask in the comments below and I'll try to get to it. I do also plan on messing with the stasis combat boat to see how good that is, so if you guys are interested in that, let me know. But in the meantime, if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave speed loaders as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.